Hello guys, this is Don's Movies and today I got yet another World of Warcraft top 5. Now in this video, I will give you my top 5 possible subclasses for World of Warcraft. Now I'm aware that there are no subclasses actually in the game right now, but they could be added at some point, either by hero classes or just as additional classes, plus some are in the lore while you can roleplay as others if you want to. Now this is just my personal view, judging mostly from what I've seen from games like Warcraft 3 or just the general World of Warcraft books. So without further ado, let's just get into the list. Number 5. Berserker. Now Berserkers are really nothing new in the lore. I mean, they have been in it almost since the start, and what it usually means is that a race like the orcs or the trolls can tap into their inner rage, that bloodlust, and use it into their own advantage, meaning that they can pretty much go all in into combat, barely feeling any damage and pretty much giving their 200% in the combat. Now I see this working in multiple ways, as it was in the lore, but I think melee fighters would be the best for this, especially warriors. I mean, in most cases a berserker is about average size and is either carrying 2 or 1 oversized weapon and doesn't really have that much armor, so he can just rush in. But I guess it can also work in rage combat as well. I mean, looking at the troll berserkers from Warcraft 3, I mean, they had the ability to be killed easier, but deal more damage with their berserker ability thing. So that is another way to go about it, but the only problem is that comes with that is that it can possibly be way too overpowered in team-like environments like raids, because the disadvantage in taking less health doesn't really matter when someone else is tanking the boss or whoever it is, but you can deal more damage than an average ranged character. So in my opinion, in order for this to function best in World of Warcraft, I'm mostly considering either a tank berserker or at least a tanky DPS spec. Number 4. Beastmaster. Now this one is kind of in the game with the hunter, but definitely not at the same level as it is in the lore. So in the actual story of the game, Beastmasters do exist, and they're pretty much called the wilderness warriors that can commune with the animals and the nature and all that. So kinda think of a mix between a warrior and a druid, although not much as a druid as in respecting the nature. Now the closest class to this is the hunter that can summon multiple animals, which kind of covers most of the elements of a beastmaster, but a beastmaster is honestly more than that. I mean, he has a unique relationship with nature and wild animals, meaning that he can call almost upon any animal, as he can in a way kind of communicate with them and kind of make a pact or a deal, sort of something between a shaman and an elemental. So imagine being able to summon a certain creature relative to your current environment. So let's say you're in like a forest area, you can call upon a bear, while if you're in a place like Barrens, you can summon like a lion or whatever it is. Now I can see how this might not fit best in PvP arenas or dungeons, or any sort of like zoned area, but it does sound like a pretty cool concept and it can be optimized to work pretty much for everything. Number 3. Battle Mage. Now the way I see this one is either as a tanky DPS or just a straight out tank. I mean, this class, even though he's not really a spellcaster, he can use his spells in his own protection. So for example, creating like an ice barrier or maybe magic shields in order to absorb the damage that's coming towards him. Now he doesn't really need to wear like super heavy armor, but the way I see him honestly in my head is as a spellbreaker from Warcraft 3, so pretty much with a big shield and a mix between like heavy armor and robes, which is kinda like a battle mage, I guess. Now I feel like this one can actually work quite well with the current game mechanics, as it would really be something unique, as right now most tanks are just straight out melee fighters and they don't really use too much magic in their defenses. So just imagine a battle mage converting his spells into melee strikes and defenses while tanking a giant boss. Number 2. Tinker. Now Tinkers are already kind of in the game, although they aren't really playable and it isn't really much of a concept, so a Tinker can be imagined in many ways, but the way I see it is like a mix between a warrior and an engineer. So races that are small and intelligent like the goblins and the gnomes can use this to their advantage, like their inventions, because they are lacking physical strength in order to fight. So this is pretty much using engineering for serious combat, which can actually be pretty awesome. So a Tinker could use all sorts of gadgets, either swords that can become longer, additional arms, additional legs, all sorts of rifles, rockets, missiles, and all of that. So I honestly think this class could be perfect for gnomes and goblins, as it really does fit their lore, although game mechanic wise it might be a bit problematic, but it can still work quite well, as they have unique spells and abilities. And lastly, number 1, Demon Hunter. Now I'm guessing a lot of people expected this one to be the first, as really it has been requested so many times since the release of World of Warcraft, and it is an actually lore developed class. Now Demon Hunters are pretty much shadowy warriors who made a pact to fight against the forces of chaos by using their own powers against it. Now they're also blind in order to get the so-called spectral sight, so they can see demons and undead with greater clarity and fight them a lot easier. Now Demon Hunters are actually good, although borderline, and they're kinda just like the warlocks. They're shunned by the society, even though in most cases they do have the best intentions. So this sort of a subclass would be a mix between a rogue or a warrior and a warlock. And I actually think that this one might even be available at some point in the future, as the most famous Demon Hunter is Illidan Stormrage, and if there is ever an expansion that revives Illidan Stormrage or is based around him, this might be the available class. Alright, so that is all I have for this top 5. Do give me some feedback on what you think about this video and what you think about the subclasses, and also what subclasses do you think would be an awesome addition to World of Warcraft right now. Also, any feedback is appreciated on the channel and what sort of videos you would like to see. Also, my voice might be a bit weirder in this top 5, although it should be fixed by the next video since I'm kinda sick, so that's a bit of a problem. And by the way, don't forget to like, favorite and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel and keeps these videos going. And check out my twitch.tv stream, as I stream there a few times a week and also have giveaways and all sorts of stuff. Thanks so much for taking your time to watch this video, and see you next time.